Imagine this scene. A child begs mommy for a cookie and mommy says no. The child then escalates that begging to whining and screaming until the child throws herself on the floor in an all-out power struggle fit. Mom can't take it anymore and gives the child the cookie just to stop the tantrum. What the mother may not realize is that she has just trained her child to behave that way whenever she wants something. Doesn't it seem strange that parents are creating the challenging behaviors that they want to stop? Let me help you better understand the power struggle and offer 5 things a parent can do when a power struggle occurs. The first step is to first understand what's going on with a power struggle. Oftentimes parents create the power struggle fiasco because they're either overpowering children too much, because children have this innate desire to be powerful, they want to be useful, they want to be somebody. And parents today are living in this efficiency mode. I got to get everything done exactly when I want to get it done, and I don't have time for any malarkey, as they used to say in the old days. So it's easier to be an efficient parent rather than an effective parent. So the child will very easily feel overpowered, and then they're going to wait for a time when mommy or daddy can least handle the fit and the power struggle, and that's when the tantrum begins to come on. Now, the other type of tantrum that can occur, or power struggle, is when the child has no boundaries or limits whatsoever. The parents haven't taken the time to actually lay down and set out limits and boundaries. Children will actually act out and also engage the parent in power struggles if they feel that they don't know where the walls are. They need to know who's flying the plane. So there's a number of reasons that can cause power struggles. But today, I'm going to offer you 5 quick tips on what to do if you find yourself in the middle of a power struggle with your child. Number 1, the first one is to replace your commands and orders with choices. Offer choices. So instead of saying, get in the bath, you would say something like, would you like mommy to put you in the bath or daddy to put you in the bath? Instead of saying, go brush your teeth, you could say something like, would you like to use the red toothbrush or the green toothbrush? Now here's some tips, because choices are used pretty frequently by a lot of families. The important thing to remember is to keep them short and brief, and I encourage you, especially if you're dealing with children in the first 6 years, no more than 2 choices. You give them a third choice, you'll blow their mind. It'll be too much. Now, be cognizant of the fact that you may blow their mind with just 2 choices. So if you say, would you like grandma to put you in the carriage or mommy to put you in the carriage, the child may go, grandma. No, mommy. No, grandma, because they realize that getting one means not getting another. Let's look at number 2. Use one word when getting them to do something, rather than all the words that we use. For example, I'm sick and tired of you leaving your teddy bear out here in the living room. And save your oxygen, save the words. Use one word. Say teddy bear. Say shoes. And issue that command through that one word, and then relax. You see, your disposition is going to play such a key role in whether the child behaves or complies or not. Now, for those of you with older children, be careful. I do encourage you to use the one word with older children, but what could happen is you'll say shoes, and your older child will go, shoes. And when that happens, let them. Pay no attention to it, because if you turn around and respond to it, you have now given it value. Value you don't want that to have. Let's look at tip number 3. Find a fun way to get your needs met. So examine this power struggle. What is it you really want done? Is it you want the toys picked up? If you want them to sit at the table? You want them to follow through on a chore? What is it? And so here's the challenge. What could you do to make it fun? Kids just want to play. In fact, kids don't understand why we have to do all this stuff. They think that they're in just one big play date of a day. But you, in your mind, know that you have all these 72 things you have to get done before you can retire for the night. Kids don't get it. And so the first thing, they can tell if you're in a rush. And if you're in a rush, they may make you move even slower. So it's a good idea to just relax over this whole issue. And so making it a fun way, what's the worst that could happen if you actually got down on the floor with your child, or you raced them to something you wanted them to do, or you made toothbrushing or teeth brushing a fun activity? Just think about it. I know it's easier said than done. And at the end of the day, and you're incredibly tired and you've been at work all day, it's hard to think in a fun way. But the object is, are you trying to have things perfect in your home or raising children? Sometimes you may need to change some of your principles to get done what you really need to get done. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 is use alternatives to the word no. Now, there are some methodologies out there that say, oh, we should never say no to children. Personally, I disagree. I think children need to hear no. Why? Because they need to know how to say it on their own when you're not around. We want our children to be safe. We want them to be able to know how to draw clear boundaries around themselves. So it all starts with the caregivers around them saying no, but it's how you say it that matters most. And so when we say no, when you find you have to say the word no, say it firm but respectful. Be calm and unconditionally loving. This is the hardest thing for parents because they have to become a parent they may have never seen. Their parents may have been yelling, snapping, barking no at them when they were a child. So when we become a parent, we start to imitate what was done to us. It's time to change the cycle. And also time to change the excuses. We know different today. So it's a good idea to replace no with a couple alternatives. My favorites are, I'm not willing, and I'm not ready. And I encourage you to write these down because I'm not willing basically says to the child, this has nothing to do with you. It's all it has to do with me. And I'm not willing to take you there today. I'm not willing for Jason to come over. I'm not willing to take those shelves, those toys down from that upper shelf. I'm not willing. It also demonstrates an awful, powerful example for children that they own their will and no one can change their will. The other one is, I'm not ready. And that's good to use instead of saying, I'm not, or you're not big enough, you're not old enough, you're not smart enough. Let's avoid labeling our children. And let's say, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for you to hold the knife. I'm not ready for you to ride the bike. I'm not ready for you to cross the street without holding my hand, rather than saying, you're not old enough or you're not big enough. The last one I want to offer is redirection. Okay? Now, this works really effective if it's a smaller child. So, for example, let's say the child is just insistent on wanting to touch the stove. The old mindset tells us we should slap the child's hand, let them learn not to touch the stove because it's hot. Some people even put the child's hand real close to the burner. You know what? Sometimes the best thing to do is just redirect the child. When my children were little and they wanted to do something, what I would suddenly do is go, oh, look at the butterfly outside the window. Where? Now they're all excited and focused on what's going on outside the window, and they're not even focused on the stove knob anymore. So these are all tips that you can use at various times. Everyone is not going to work in every situation, nor is it going to work with every child. But here's some new tools for your toolbox, and consider using these next time instead of yelling or reprimanding.